Welcome to the Killer Author Club. 3 best-selling authors talking about killer, of the fictional kind, with the best thriller and suspense authors in the business. Killer conversations, killer cocktails, and killer guests, with your hosts, Kimberly Bell, Heather Gutenkopf, and Kara Ruda. This is the Killer Author Club.
I don't know if I'll survive.
I think you're going to survive. I don't know, but we'll see. Lauren, you'll just have to wait. All right. Welcome to the Killer Author Club, your favorite haunt for all things murder, mystery, and mayhem. We are so excited to welcome the one and only Lauren Oliver to the Killer Author Club hot seat to tell us about her latest, The Girl in the Lake. The question is, will she survive? We'll have to see. Will we? We have tons of questions and heaps of killer fun plans, so buckle up and get ready to kill the lights. I'm Kara Ruda.
And I'm Killer Lauren Oliver.
And I'm Killer Heather Gutenkopf. Killer Kimberly Bell is off on an adventure tonight, but she will be with us next time.
And before we dive into Girl in the Lake, a couple of quick PSAs. Tonight's show will be available this Friday as a podcast with bonus content just for listeners. Find the links at killerauthorclub.com. And while you're there, sign up for our newsletter so you're the first to hear about our killer breaking news. And speaking of breaking news, have you seen our summer lineup? You'll find it on killerauthorclub.com. And wait, there's more. Thursday is a huge day in the Killer Author Club. We have 2 authors takeovers planned for you. Killer Tori Eldridge will be commandeering the Facebook group to give you all the behind-the-scenes goodness about Hawaii Rage. And Killer Ray Fry will be spilling the tea about Dear Mother on our Instagram feed. Yes, there will be giveaways, so don't miss out on all the killer fun on Thursday. And now, Heather, would you please introduce our killer guest?
I would love to. Lauren Oliver is an author, screenwriter, and media entrepreneur. Her previous works include multiple New York Times bestselling novels for teens, including Before I Fall, which spent 17 weeks on the list and was adapted into a feature film released by Open Road. The Delirium Trilogy, a 2 million copy selling dystopian series translated into 35 languages, and Panic, which she later adapted into the streaming TV show on Amazon Prime of the same name, for which she wrote every single episode and served as executive producer. Raised in Westchester, New York, Lauren attended the University of Chicago and got her MFA from NYU. She now divides her time between Maryland and Los Angeles. And now, Lauren, would you please give us the elevator pitch of what The Girl in the Lake is all about?
Absolutely. Okay, let's see if I can do this, actually. It's a little bit of a longer pitch. So Kate Willis, skeptical psychologist, consults for the real-life institution at University of Virginia called the Department of Perceptual Studies. She goes to interview a 6-year-old child who claims to have memories of a past life. And when she arrives there, back in an area that she is familiar with, she soon discovers that despite her incredulity, this 6-year-old child seems to have memories of her childhood friend, Becca, who disappeared the summer they were 14.
So good. We loved it. And we have so many questions. So readers, get chatty. Drop your questions into the comments, and we will answer as many as we can. But first, Kara, what are we drinking today?
Great. Okay, tonight's drink is the Back 40 mocktail. Lauren, can you tell us why you chose this drink?
Okay, so this is the best cocktail in the world. I chose mocktail because I have had so many cocktails in my life. I am now mocktail only. But it's an absolutely delicious cocktail. I actually it has maple syrup and a little bit of lemon, and again, the real drink is made with bourbon. I make it with non-alcoholic substitute by Ritual. It is a very dangerous drink in that you can have basically any number of them. They're delicious. But yeah, it's the best, and it's particularly good. I mean, it's good for all seasons, but I especially like it when you're curling up with a good mystery.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thank you.
So cheers and congratulations.
Cheers.
Great book. We loved it.
Cheers.
I agree. Yeah. I really like
Oh.
my cheers. Oh, here's my cheers. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
We created the Killer Author Club so readers could get up close and personal with their favorite thriller writers. Our upcoming lineup is stacked with amazing killers, including Alex Finley, Jamie Day, Jessica Knoll, Andrea Bartz, and so many more. So for dates, times, past episodes, and our Killer 2026 lineup, search killerauthorclub.com. But tonight, it's all about our very special guest, Lauren Oliver, and The Girl in the Lake. Here's what some of Lauren's early reviewers have to say about the book. New York Times bestselling author Jennifer Niven says, I devoured The Girl in the Lake, which has everything I adore in a book. Relatable characters, thrills and chills, a layered, propulsive plot, an enormous heart. It's about secrets, loss, grief, and love, and I still have chills of the very best kind. Stunning. Wow, what a great review.
Yeah.
And Lauren Toman says, my favorite type of story, part supernatural investigation, part small town mystery, and utterly captivating from the first page to the last. Lauren Oliver seamlessly blends the supernatural with the psychological in a twisted, decade-spanning puzzle that kept me guessing right up until the very end. I devoured this book. So high praise, Lauren, and clearly you are a twisted and devious killer. So the answer to this question, when do you kill?
Okay, so what came to me was I kill in a room. I often spend a ton of time pitching in Hollywood, and I'm really, really good in a room. So that's my metaphorical answer to this question. If it was a literal answer to this question, all I can say is that my father is actually he studies serial killers. So my dad is a true crime writer, a true crime historian and novelist. So I have grown up thinking about and knowing about murder since well beyond what my psychologist in my teenage years thought was appropriate. And we have discussed, it was normal family dinner talk to discuss the best way and place to dispose of a body. I'm not kidding. That was a normal thing that we did. So I've spent a lot of time on this. Recently, I have been very interested in the fact that antifreeze is a very, very, it's a deadly, obviously, form of murder. It's a very devious one. It's very, very hard to detect and obviously incredibly common. Also very easy to administer to somebody else. And also, I just found out that eye drops are poisonous.
Yeah, I have a book that is that. Yeah, it's so fun, right? I know it's just the whole like you got the Visine bottle. It's really innocuous. Just 7 drops really will do it.
7 drops. That's insane, and also crazy that they just sell it anywhere.
Right. And because but also you can also, in my experience, fictionally speaking, you can also just use a few less drops to keep somebody under control, feeling bad, just,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
This is a scary place.
It is. I know. Welcome to the Killer Author Club. It's just like it's your childhood coming back.
It is my childhood coming in all of its glory and terror. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the premise of this book is irresistible. A child remembering a past life tied to a real disappearance. What was the very first spark for this story? Like, how did it come about?
I have been obsessed with University of Virginia's Department of Perceptual Studies since I learned about it. I'm not sure when I learned about it, probably a number of years before the idea for the book came to me. So on the one hand, I am interested in the supernatural, but I'm particularly interested in the places where kind of the supernatural or the things we can't define and understand really intersects with the psychological. And there's a lot of places that it intersects there. And my sister actually is a consciousness researcher. So that kind of answering questions about consciousness, looking at all of the edge cases, let's call them, where our model of what consciousness is, which is in the West still a model that it basically is just neurons firing, has always been really deeply interesting to me. So somehow I stumbled upon the University of Virginia's Department of Perceptual Studies, and I like could not believe that people get to do this for a job. In fact, that is my backup career. I will be applying. I would love to work there. They, that department or division is like one of the only accredited real science, universities that does academic research about all of these very strange phenomenon that the rest of the kind of material scientific establishment ignores, such as they're not called near-death experiences, they're called recalled experiences of death and past life memories. So that's where the first spark came in, digging in deep to this massive study they did of kids who recalled past life experiences from around the world.
Can you share, was there one that you came across or a situation that really stuck with you that you're like, wow, this is unbelievable? But
yeah, there are so many. So this one isn't from the study itself. This is a famous one. Her name was Dorothy Eady, who as a child began telling her parents that she was from Egypt, ancient Egypt. And what was interesting about the Dorothy Eady case was she ultimately ended up, I don't remember if she moved there back to Egypt or she just became an archaeologist, but somehow decades later, after she'd claimed this, she'd been in fact extremely distressed about not still being in ancient Egypt. She was at an archaeological dig where they were excavating I don't know, I think it was a 6,000-year-old temple. And Dorothy Eady was able to identify and point out to people completely hidden gardens, rooms, and passageways that nobody had stepped foot in 6,000 years. She just knew where the location was. And there's another case, this was included, I believe, in their study of a 5-year-old boy who began having nightmares about a plane going down. He ultimately identified and was able to recall the name of a World War II battleship from which his plane had taken off. He knew the kind of plane that it was, and he even gave the name of a co-pilot who later confirmed that in fact and like where he died, right? And he gave the name of a co-pilot who later confirmed that he'd lost his co-pilot during World War II in a plane crash.
Wow.
So, but there are tons of cases like it.
Right. Wow. Okay. So, all right. So you have all of this research, you're studying the studies and you've got all these stories in your head. And then you've got in this story, you have to weave together the past and the present, like Kate's childhood trauma and Henley's memories. So what was the hard part, or maybe it wasn't, like the structure of the story, like putting it all together and deciding how to do it?
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult for me to answer that question because like every time I'm trying to structure a book, it's just this weird blur. I kind of feel like it's what parents describe right after a child is born. Like I never really know how I do it. I just know that while I'm doing it, it feels impossible, you know? But typically that is part of my process. Usually I write about 15 to 20,000 words to see if the voice is really gripping me. But then at that point, a lot, like over half of the things I write at that point, when I try to sit down and figure out, is there enough for a story here and can I make that story work? More than half of the things that I've started, I just have to abandon, right? So it was just a lot of retooling, thinking about timelines and, and then reshuffling them together.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. So let's talk about Henley, because she is like adorable and sweet, but kind of unsettling. Where did she come from? Why did you choose her? And tell us more about her.
So I'm really glad you asked that question because I've decided that creepy children are going to be my new brand. Everybody needs a brand. And I've decided that mine are creepy children. I love creepy children, but children can be creepy because they seemingly, they're incredibly disinhibited, obviously, but like every so often, and they're wild and kooky and whatever, but then every so often they have these like penetrating insights or things that they'll say that you're like, where did that come from?
Mhm.
Um, as a perfect example, I was with my boyfriend and his 4-year-old son, and like out of nowhere, we were like putting him to bed. Out of nowhere, he just says in this monotone voice, "In the beginning, there was chaos, swirling dark, nothing but wind." And we were like, "What is this? Is this being channeled from somewhere?" You know?
This is
It
at
was
bedtime.
yes. And it like went on for like 5 minutes. Like it was crazy. So I think
Hmm.
you know, I don't know. I mean, to a certain extent, I guess I hold a kind of belief that kids, because they are so much of their, executive function is not developed yet, like they don't have those part of their brains, their intuition and their thank you for that validation. Creepy children, Lauren Oliver, creepy children. But
Exactly. We're all there for it.
there's other parts of their their sensitivities and things like that that are beyond what adults can experience, and just one glance at Reddit will convince you that this is true, because there are so many stories of children seeing and interacting with ghosts, and it's wild. So I don't know exactly where Henley specifically came from, but again, I really do love creepy children. And by the way, I love creepy teens too. Like it's really all the way until they turn 18.
Right. So yeah, that's because you did young adult before this, which was
Yeah.
with creepy teens, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And my next book has a creepy teenager in it. So yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
really, I think your theory is like all children are creepy, and then they
Yeah.
continue to be
They have
creepy.
all children have the capacity to be creepy. And
Okay.
don't tell me that teenagers, like insolent teenagers, cannot be super unsettling, because they can.
Yeah, they're completely
Yeah.
creepy. I would tell you that.
Yeah.
Like I have I have a grandson now who's like 5 months, and I'm trying to think, has he exhibited anything creepy yet?
Any
Not
creep?
yet.
Yeah. No, not yet.
He isn't
Yeah.
early either, so that might mean
Yeah.
something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
You never know.
Need
It's
a lot of
latent. It's a latent potential. Yeah.
It is because he can't talk yet, but maybe when he does,
Yeah.
he'll do something creepy. I'll let you know. Okay,
Okay,
so this
please.
setting also feels alive in addition and oppressive and kind of
Yeah.
the whole lake thing. I mean, did you think of the lake itself as a character?
I did, and actually I was living in that area while I was writing the book.
Mm,
So, and it's hard to live in that area without, I mean, it's a really cool area. I was living not in Massachusetts, but right over the border in New York and upstate New York. And, landscape is everything. It's part of the, you know, it's part of the experience of being there. You're so deeply tied to the weather, to the land, to it's an agrarian area basically originally. I mean, now it has cute little towns and fancy breweries and things like that, but the heart of it is still this very wild place.
right. It's a
Yeah.
wild place with creepy children.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't you want to visit?
Yes. Yes. I'm signing up.
Yeah.
So you did write for YA books in the past, and so what made you decide to come over to adult suspense? What made you
Yeah.
bridge that
Yeah.
divide there?
Well, I took a long break from writing, which was partially voluntary and then partially because I really didn't know what I wanted to write next, but it was changing, right? I did, I think, 19 or 20 books for YA and for middle grade. And you can see in my last book, which I like to joke, but it's not really a joke, which everyone hated. But my last book, What Happened to Lucy Vale, really which is a deeply flawed book. I mean, I'm very proud of it, but it is flawed. But it really shows that tension of somebody in transition, like between, so a lot of the character, a lot of one of the POV characters is actually a collective we, that is the voice of an entire adolescent Discord group. But then there's also this mother character who's a POV character. And that book took me, it almost broke me. It took me 4 years. And I think, honestly, I think it also coincided with when I got sober. There was a ton of very adult transitions that happened in my life. I got divorced, I was getting sober, I got breast cancer, and I think I was ready to channel some of that. And of course, I used my own sobriety journey in Kate's story as well.
Mhm.
So I think honestly, it was just to some extent, what I was ready for. Now, as for adult suspense and thriller, I really when I really didn't know what I would write or whether I had a writing career in the future, I just ultimately, it sounds so silly, but I was like, what do I love to read? Like what do I love to read?
Yeah.
And the answer is suspense thriller. I actually also go all the way on a gradient scale to certain kinds of cozy mystery I can really get behind, and
Mhm.
then all the way up to real suspense thriller, you know, detective thriller, that kind of thing. But that is like the only thing at this point basically I read, you know.
Yeah.
So in some ways it felt like a real homecoming. And it's weird that it hadn't occurred to me to write that before, honestly.
Well,
Well,
you're
you
doing
do beautiful.
you're successfully your thing. So yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you
Slid
found
right
your
into that. We really, I mean, it
Yeah.
was so engaging and
Thank
fast
you.
and brave. And I think that, you talk a little bit about like your journey is a very
Yeah.
brave journey, but that really
Yeah.
comes through in
Thanks.
your story as well. And as an
Ah,
author, a fellow author, I'm like, the chances you take, you took, like when you talk about the collective we, I think that's brilliant.
yeah.
It's brilliant.
Thank you.
And,
Thank
and
you.
then the past life thing. I think that's such a very cool way to explore.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank
it's
you.
inspiring me to try something different maybe next time.
Yeah. Amazing. And I'll be there to cheer it on and gobble it up and pre-order it. Yeah.
Thank
Aw,
you.
Yeah.
that's what's great about this community. It really is so
Yeah.
supportive and
It
such great
is.
people. It's awesome. Okay, I have a rapid fire section for you.
Oh, no, I'm so scared. Okay.
I don't even know if these make sense. Okay. Past life or deja vu. Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain?
I've experienced so many things that I can't explain. Um, do I have to answer either past life or deja vu? Oh, do I think it's either past life or deja vu? Um, I think deja vu is past life, you know? Yeah.
That okay. Lake house or city apartment for writing your next thriller?
Lake house for sure. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. One word to describe the girl in the lake.
All that came to me was eerie, but there's probably captivating. Yeah.
Creepy. How about that?
Creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, creepy children. That's two words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And after spending so much time inside this story, do you believe Henley?
Oh, I fully believe Henley. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
tried to balance it so that you
Mhm.
wouldn't have to, but I
Right.
fully believe Henley. I mean, what I really believe, because I saw this, somebody was talking about this. What I really believe is we don't know anything. Like, I really believe that we know so little. And a lot of what we know is largely due to wherever our instrumentation is at the time. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And a lot of what we know, maybe as a child, we forget as we grow up, right?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to watch my grandkid like crazy.
Yeah. No, but actually that I do want to say that. I mean, in many ways, it's like what children know, science is now only just coming around to like children are like, all children know that the whole world is conscious. They all know. They talk to everything, they talk to plants, they know that everything is not only alive, but has some kind of awareness. They may take it overboard from what it is, but now science is like, oh, maybe consciousness is a gradient and every plant is alive in or conscious in some way. And kids
Mhm.
would be like, yeah, of course,
Right.
Right.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and with no spoilers, the ending of the book kind of made us think that maybe we'd meet Kate again in a future book, maybe?
Yeah. So actually, you do, but the sequel is a little bit. Um, I chose to go again in a different direction.
Yeah.
So Kate is a character in the book, but she's a side character in the sequel. The
Hmm.
sequel has another main character who is actually a defense attorney for, and I did that because I also felt what worked in The Girl in the Lake is that the case, obviously, that Kate was investigating also had deep personal ramifications for her. And I wanted to be able to bring another character on a journey that would, be different from Kate's, but
Mhm.
tied to the kind of odd thing that she is investigating. So the if I continue the series, at a certain point I will go back to Kate. But the first 2 to 3 I imagined actually being basically people who are connected to Kate.
Mhm.
Um, so it's more like an anthology series. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fun. That's
I love
awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to be there for it. So,
Thank you.
this.
and
Yeah.
what you guys now is time for the killer giveaway. Killer Lauren is giving away 5 copies of The Girl in the Lake to lucky US viewers. Doesn't matter where you're watching. We scour the comments everywhere we stream, but please make sure to shout out where you're from when you answer this question. Which of Lauren's books is now a streaming series on Amazon Prime? See if everybody was listening.
Great.
Yes. And also, the Killers, we are big fans of independent booksellers and want to send them all our love and support. Lauren has chosen the Killer Booksellers of the Week would be, make sure I find that, Novel Endings, a bookstore located inside the Greenbelt Library. How cool is that? In Greenbelt, Maryland. Tell us why you love this bookshop.
It's dedicated because it's in this library which I'd never seen before, and I mean the only reason for its existence is to you know continue to provide, obviously libraries do this anyway, but continue to provide affordable reading materials to the community. And so the books, they sell the books, they're all donated by the community, and then they sell them very low priced, but it's really nice. And also, again, I just love having, I don't know, I just love that it's volunteer operated within the library.
How cool.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
great.
can check out Novel Endings through the Friends of the Greenbelt Library Facebook page, and we will drop that link in the comments for you. And if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can grab the book for free on Kindle this month,
Yes.
right? It's the first read.
Yes.
You're a Kindle
Yes.
grab that. And we'll also be dropping the link to bookshop.org in the comments, so you can order The Girl in the Lake and support your favorite indie bookseller while you're at it.
Lots of options for your purchasing pleasure. Yeah. And obviously the Killers love to read, and we love it when you guys share what you're reading in our Facebook group. Post pictures, write reviews, ask for recommendations, and give yours. And tonight we want to know, Lauren, what are you currently reading?
I'm reading 2 books, very different books. Liz Moore's The God of the Woods, which I'm reading belatedly and is amazing. Have you read it?
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I mean, I said everything I read is in the kind of mystery, suspense, thriller space, but my friend convinced me to read The Covenant of Water. So I've also started that.
Great.
Great reads. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, speaking of fabulous books, we have 3 new releases to celebrate tonight. First, we have Mrs. Shim is a Killer by Kang Xiang. I'm sorry if I got that name wrong. When a middle-aged widow loses her job at the butcher shop, she's at a loss as how to provide for her family until she's offered a position that puts her carving skills to new uses in this darkly humorous best-selling Korean thriller. And next we
Amazing.
have, it looks so good.
So good.
Melinda Lee, You Can Tell Me. In You Can Tell Me, crime writer Olivia Cruz is drawn into the dark secrets of a missing friend in a terrifying novel of suspense by #1 Wall Street Journal bestselling author Melinda Lee. And finally, we have The Mediator by Robert Bailey. From the Wall Street Journal bestselling author of Rich Justice and the Boomerang comes a gripping thriller about a disgraced lawyer facing the legal battle of her life as she tries to redeem herself and save her son. Kang is giving away 5 copies of Mrs. Shim is a Killer to U.S. viewers. Melinda is giving away 2 copies of You Can Tell Me to viewers in the U.S. or Canada. So Canadian people, here's your chance. Make sure
Finally, Canada.
this one. And Robert is giving away 2 copies of The Mediator to U.S. viewers. Want in? Tell us where you're from. and just drop it in the comments. And because we are about shamelessly plugging our own murdery fun, don't miss the Killer's latest reads. Kara has, of course, We Were Never Friends, a sorority reunion that takes a very, very dark turn.
And speaking of deathly parties, Heather is serving up the perfect host, an over-the-top gender reveal party that explodes in more ways than one.
And finally, Kimberly is taking you on a deadly European getaway in the expat affair. 2 Americans, the glittering diamond trade, in danger in Amsterdam. And we want to say a big, huge thank you to Book Reporter for sharing the murdery love as well. Stay up to date on bookish news and events at bookreporter.com.
Oh, and Lauren, you know what? We've got good news for you.
What?
You survived the Killer Author Club.
I did. Oh my God.
So
a
we
miracle.
put a big fat badge right over your face. So anyway, we will send you a copy of it and you can, print it out and hang it up.
Yeah, please.
You'll be very proud of it for years, I think. But anyway,
I
seriously,
love
thank
it.
you for being here. We're so happy for you and your success and your
Oh,
kids.
thank you, and ditto. I have so many craft questions for you guys, actually. But
Not now.
don't.
This is your turn. So okay.
yeah.
So tell our listeners and viewers where they can find you.
The best ways to find me are I'm on Substack, I am on Instagram, and also people can follow me on my Amazon author page.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, that's a wrap on tonight's episode. Thanks for hanging out with us. And don't forget, Ray Fry will be taking over our Instagram feed this Thursday, and Tori Eldridge will be taking over the Facebook group. They've got tons of fun and giveaways planned, so set your alarm and tune in for that. And we'll be back in 2 weeks on May 26th with Alex Finley talking all things the anniversary. Until then, you can find us wasting entirely too much time on Facebook, Instagram, once in a while TikTok. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel. For links, upcoming schedule, past episodes, and merch, head to killerauthorclub.com. And thanks for being part of the club. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
That does it for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to catch our next show live, we're every other Tuesday night on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For times, upcoming schedule, and to catch up on past episodes, visit us at killerauthorclub.com. Happy reading. Now get on out there and kill that TV.